welcome back to Not Your Average Glow Up. This is a safe place where we come and we talk all things mental health. If you're new here, hi, happy to have you. My name is Sam. If you're not new here, you're probably like, whoa, Sam, you're back in your art room. What the heck? Life has created a lot of new beginnings and a lot of things have happened in the last couple of weeks. I was sick with COVID, then my kids were getting sick, and then my roommate was getting sick, and it was just a whole big thing. And Dakota and I talked about it, and basically we come to the conclusion that I should move back in for right now. So that's the short version of it. There's a lot more to it than just that, of course. I don't have my setup completely set up yet. The tapestry's just kind of hanging from a shelf. I don't have a chair or a bench yet, so it's kind of wonky today. But it's been a really long time since I've done a video for you guys, and I have internet again. Slow internet, but I have internet again, so I wanted to get a video out to you guys. So let's just talk. I haven't been recording lately for multiple reasons. I've been sick, kids have been sick, haven't had internet and stuff. But also just because I've been in a weird headspace mentally and emotionally lately. So I haven't really had the motivation, more or less, to put a video out for you guys. So I've been really struggling with my creativity and like coming up with what I wanted to talk to you guys about. It felt weird for me to come back on this channel and then be back in my same setup as before after, announcing that I moved out and everything else. So it's just been, I've been in a weird place mentally. But this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love to do. I need to put fear of judgment or what will people think or this, that, or the other, behind me, and just get back to the core of what I'm doing here, which is sharing my knowledge and being transparent and being honest with you guys. So I have been struggling with creativity, and the last couple days I found some inspo. It started with Matt from Yes Theory. He did a voice memo. And he was talking about the book, the Yes Theory book, that he's been writing and how he was having trouble trying to, encapsulate like what is the book about, like the main theme of the book. And of course, the assumption is it's seeking discomfort because that's their motto. But then, he came to the realization through having a conversation with somebody else that it was about belonging. And then shortly after that, Yes Theory did a podcast where they talked to this singer, and she was talking about, her religious upbringing and how it affected her faith and, her beliefs and all of that. And it was beautiful, and I cried, and it was a really healing experience for me. And then today, I got my hair done. And I know that seems all very disconnected, but it's actually deeply connected for me. So this video does not do this hair justice at all. It looks freaking fantastic in person. But basically this hairstyle just makes my inner child just so freaking excited. When I was younger, I was raised in a very conservative Christian family. And I was allowed to, dress myself and have some say in how I dressed or whatever, but my parents were very opinionated, and they didn't really like me, dressing too weird. So I wasn't really allowed to dye my hair like unnatural colors. I wasn't allowed to like go out of the house wearing like crazy wacky makeup or, whatever. So growing up as a teenager, I'm currently 30. I grew up in the MySpace era. I remember loving like 70s fashion, and like I loved a good shag haircut. And then I also had a love for like the scene queens on MySpace, like these girls like that had like these awesome hairstyles. And I remember specifically loving split dye hair. And I remember asking my mom to get it done, and she was like, absolutely not, that's insane, we're not doing that. So this hairstyle is like a modern twist on a shag and then split dye bangs. And teenage me would look at now me and be like, oh my God, she's so cool. So I'm very excited about this hair, and I wish it showed up better on camera, but it doesn't. So you're just gonna have to believe me. It's awesome. So how is that connected to what Matt was talking about his book and belonging? And how is that connected to the Yes Theory podcast and religion and stuff? Essentially, this channel is me learning to be authentic, to walk in truth, and it's pretty much been my spiritual evolution. And it was the walking away from the indoctrinated beliefs, my upbringing, and what I was taught was the way that I was supposed to live. And being more authentic and not being afraid to be bold, to be different, to be deemed as weird or unusual or like the black sheep. Ironically, when I started not giving a fuck about fitting in, I found where I belonged. And that's what this channel is. It's me sharing that story. Like Matt talked about in his voice memo, he talked about like growing up and always feeling like the black sheep of his like family and stuff. And I 110% relate. Like, I grew up in a very conservative Christian family, but I naturally had more like liberal beliefs. I was taught things in church and they just never felt right in my soul. I still to this day believe in God, and my like foundation of my spirituality has like some Christian elements to it, but I definitely wouldn't necessarily call myself a Christian now. I think I have more eclectic spiritual views. But I grew up thinking that I had to have a specific faith, a specific way of dressing, a specific type of music, a specific way of carrying myself in order to fit in order to belong here in the Bible Belt. I live kind of where Florida, Alabama, Georgia all mesh together. I am in the Bible Belt, honey. I grew up thinking that this person you see in front of you right now, split dye hair and the incense burning and the tarot cards and this eclectic fashion sense, I grew up believing and being taught that not only is this weird, not only is this not what I'm supposed to be doing, but in some ways it was sinful. It wasn't right. It was wrong. But I sit before you today feeling more like me than I ever have in my entire life. And this is just a hairstyle, but like when I got my hair done today, I looked in the mirror and I went, like I fully geeked, because if childhood me met this person sitting before you, I would want to be her. I would look up to her. I would be like, wow, she's so cool. Like, and that's such a crazy feeling because I feel like such a fucking dork. And I grew up thinking that if I became this person that I felt way down in my soul, and I, got into tarot, which I've always been interested in since I was a small child, if I dressed the way I wanted to, if I dyed my hair crazy, or if I spoke about my political or religious views openly, and I thought that nobody would accept me and I would be so alone. But to my surprise, some of the last people that I ever thought I'd be friends with, or that I'd even want to hang out with me, or even like my hair, or anything like that. Like, I was so wrong. Like today, my mom called me out of nowhere after I got my hair done, and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know that Caitlin called me and was talking about how much she loves your hair and how it makes her want to go red now and blah, blah, blah. Like, Caitlin was one of the, like, popular girls growing up. Like, she's stunning, but she doesn't exactly, like, do, like, weird, crazy fashion. Like, she pretty much plays it safe. She wears what's trending. She wears, like, name brand, what's popular clothes. Like, so my assumption would have been that she would have been the last person to like this weird half blonde, half red banged hairstyle. Like, I would have thought she would have been the type of person who would have looked at this and went, the fuck is she doing? Has she lost her mind? But she loved it. And I've noticed that, like, some girls from church whom I thought surely would have been gossiping about me and, like, saying that I'm going to hell for doing tarot, like, they messaged me and they were like, hey, I didn't know that you did tarot. Like, we should hang out sometime. And then come to find out, they also collect plants and crystals, and they've been on the down low, like, secretly interested in these things, but they were also afraid that they would get judgment for it. And it's just like, the less I tried to do what I thought I needed to do to fit in, the more I naturally found my place. And that literally is the law of attraction at work in my life. That is literally, like, if you want to know how to attract your soulmate, be you. Be the authentic, real, wonderful you. Be happy in who you are. Be confident in who you are. Show yourself the love that you want from that person, and that person's naturally gonna come in. And it's the same with attracting. Like, if you feel alone and you feel like you don't fit in and you can't find people who love the real you, stop and ask yourself, are you truly showing people the real you, or the version of you that you feel you have to be in order to fit in? Because I always felt so alone, like such an outcast, so different and isolated and not good enough, when I was trying so damn hard to be good enough. And I was a pretty girl. I didn't grow up like rich by any means, but we were like middle class Americans. My mom bought me name brand clothes. I was on the cheerleading team, and I felt like such a fucking dork, and like I never fit in. And then oddly enough, when I started just being the dork that I am, people freaking loved me for it. And I get told all the time, like, that I'm funny and that I'm smart and that people wish they could be more like me. And I'm not saying that as a brag, I'm saying it to motivate you, because, like, I'm like, what? You wish that, like, I can't tell you how often I get told since doing this YouTube channel that people wish they could be as confident as I am. Y'all, I'm not confident at all. I overthink everything. I constantly am, like, checking myself and being like, is this too weird? Is this like, I am so like, I have something called nonverbal learning disability. It is basically ADHD and autism's lesser known love child. So I have a lot of characteristics as somebody with ADHD and somebody has autism. And that is a crazy, weird, quirky combo. And I've always had, so like social interactions are really difficult for me. So I grew up masking. I grew up constantly mirroring those around me. It wasn't until this year, until I was 30 years old, till I finally started to discover who the fuck Sam even is. I had no idea what kind of music I liked, what kind of clothing I liked, what my favorite movies were, what kind of people I enjoyed being around, even down to the food that I ate. It was constantly just looking to others to see what I should be doing, because I was always told growing up, oh, that's weird, that's different, like, why are you wearing that? Why are you hanging out with those people? Calm down, do this, do that. And like, so I was taught to mask. And I was thinking about it the other day. Our oldest daughter, Vanessa, she has severe ADHD, like really severe, where it, for a long time, we thought she was autistic, because ADHD shows up differently in girls. And she shuts down because of the anxiety and the depression, because constantly being told that she had to act a certain way or think a certain way. And then my youngest daughter, not my youngest, Gianna, my 6-year-old daughter, we haven't gotten her tested yet, but everybody who meets her is like, have you got her tested? Because bless her heart, she's who I was when I was younger. So it's very possible that she has nonverbal learning disability, or at least ADHD or autism. And I have to catch myself, because sometimes I go to the default setting of parenting that I was taught was normal. So sometimes I mirror the voice of my mom. And my mom's a good person and she meant well and we're in a much better place. But growing up, she was very verbally abusive. It was always, you're going out like that? You look fucking weird. Why are you hanging out with those people? Like, ugh, I mean, they're nerds, Samantha. Like, act normal, be normal. When my stepmom got me tested when I lived in Wisconsin, and it came back that I had nonverbal learning disability, my mom was so adamant that I did not get treatment for it. It was just act normal, be normal. And that was her go-to. And we sat at the table every afternoon doing homework, and there was tears involved, and it was just it was awful. And it was, quite frankly, traumatic, because I was constantly being told I wasn't good enough, but I wasn't being taken to counseling. I wasn't on medicine. I was getting no help. I was just being told it wasn't okay, that I was the way that I was. That my way of thinking, my way of doing, the way I processed information was weird and it wasn't normal, and I needed to just be normal. And I have to catch myself now as an adult, having children with very similar special needs. Sometimes, and it's rare, but sometimes I'll catch myself getting upset with Gianna for stemming. Stemming is something that's prevalent in ADHD and in autism. sometimes you get overly stimulated and you shut down and you cry and you get overwhelmed. And then sometimes you don't get enough stimuli. So you start making weird like siren noises, or you just start tapping, or I did this thing growing up called the Sammy Shake. Whenever I got overly stimulated and anxious or super excited about something, I would go like this. I still do it. My friends think it's cute. They'll be like, oh, Sammy Shake, you know. But I do the Sammy Shake. That was my, like, I was getting overwhelmed. I do that. My daughter, Gianna, and our son, Cody, my stepson, they have the more hyperactive side of it, where we'll be riding in the car and they're not getting enough stimuli, so all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, they'll be like, and they'll just start stemming. We'll be in the middle of listening to a song and we'll be jamming, and it'll be like a nice calm moment and, you know, whatever. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Gianna's not getting enough stimuli, so she'll roll her window down and want the breeze on her, and she'll start making noises and she'll start wiggling around because that's what her body tells her to do. And sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, gee, stop, shut up. And then I'm like, oh no, I don't want her to start feeling like she's weird or she's wrong or I need to teach her, you know, like appropriateness. But at the same time, I don't want her to feel like she constantly has to mask. I don't want her to be body checking in the mirror all the time. And I literally still to this day rehearse conversations. Like if I have, and it won't even be like a big conflict, but to me, I make it so much bigger in my head. So like, say I have a conversation that I need to have with a friend about something that happened. I will spend like 30 minutes rehearsing in my head exactly what I'm gonna say and exactly how I'm gonna do it. And when I was younger, I didn't understand facial expressions, so I studied the way people talked and the way they moved, and I asked a lot of questions. And so I still to this day will catch myself in a social event, like I'll check my reflection and just make sure that I'm mirroring everyone else and that I look normal. But ironically, when I quit trying to be normal, people freaking liked me. They thought it was cute. Who knew? This whole time I thought I wasn't good enough. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Be bold, be brave. If you want to dye your hair neon green, just fucking do it. It's just hair. If you want to wear the craziest, loudest, most epic clothes, just do it. If you want to hang out with a person in every single friend group because you find stuff that you like in every friend group, do it. You don't have to fit into a certain clique. You don't have to listen to a certain kind of music. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to automatically adopt your parents', like religious views and political views. The beautiful thing about being a human and having a brain is that we're creatures meant to evolve. And if you are the same exact person from 15 to 30 years old, then you're doing something wrong. You're meant to evolve, you're meant to grow, you're meant to change your mind. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but recently Facebook did like a new update, and old Facebook Messenger messages that I had deleted are now in the archive. I was in my messages the other day and was reading old messages. What happened was I seen archive and I clicked on it, and then I seen a message from Andrew Stevenrow, and he is a friend of mine who passed away. And so I went back and I was reading the messages, and then I was like, there was a message talking about an ex-girlfriend and drama and all kinds of craziness. I'm like, I don't even remember this happening. So then out of curiosity, I started reading other messages from like back in high school and stuff. And when I tell you, I was nauseous. I was like, who the hell was I? The way I communicated with people, the way I carried myself, my opinions on things was so incredibly different than who I am now that it was like, I didn't even like that person. Like back then, I was so toxic, but I genuinely thought I was the victim and in the right in those situations. Like, looking back on it, reading now, I'm like, oh my God, I was so toxic. Like, ugh. But it just goes to show you how much I've grown and evolved since then. I'm still not super confident in myself. I'm far from perfect. I can still have some toxic or abusive tendencies. I can still struggle with depression and anxiety. I'm still, growing and learning and healing and evolving, but I have grown so much since then. And I think you have too. If you haven't, then get to it, baby. What are you doing? That's why we're here. We're here to grow and learn and evolve and motivate others and make a positive impact on the world. So that's my message for today. I was gonna do a tarot reading, but this video is already getting kind of long, so I'm not. But I did want to show you a new tarot deck that I got because it's so pretty. I'm probably gonna mispronounce this. It's called the Clement tarot deck, I think. It says it's from Italy, and I don't speak Italian, so yeah, I don't know what most of the words are on this tarot deck, but this artwork is, oh, look at how pretty this is. So I'm going to be using this very soon, very, very soon. And I've been booking private readings, and I've recently decided to quit my usual 9-to-5 and fully jump in and chase my dreams of doing tarot full time, because it's what I want to do with my life. It's who I truly, authentically am. And I believe that if I fully commit and I'm authentic and I take the time, that it'll all work out for my good. So I hope that motivates you today. And I love you guys, and I think you're wonderful, and I think you're beautiful, and I'm so grateful for you guys.